do, just laying on our backs with our feet flat on the floor and knees bent, and just find our way down to the earth, maybe beginning to settle with the eyes closed, or you could slowly soften the gaze and then just gently soften the eyelids. Maybe placing the hands on the lower belly or down either side of the pelvis, palms facing down. I'm just starting to settle through the shoulder blades. You might like to move a little here and feel the collarbones moving. Maybe settling them a little wider, loosening them, allowing them to feel a little floaty and light. I'm just beginning to take the hands now and interlace the fingers behind the head, lifting the weight of the skull and allowing that heavy head to drop into the hands as the elbows draw up towards the sky. I'm just beginning to find gentle little movements to allow the head to release and let go, softening around the face and the jaw, allowing the eyes to release, and beginning to lengthen through the back of the neck, feeling that space in the vertebrae, finding little rocking and adjustment movements, just adjusting here and there, listening into what works for your body in this moment, beginning to settle through the pelvis and the back of the ribcage. And then gently placing the weight of the skull back down, with the hands still interlaced behind the head, maybe just inviting the elbows to drop out to the side. If it feels comfortable, allowing them to rest onto the ground beneath. Shoulders might be not quite so happy with that, and that's fine. We haven't warmed up. You don't have to drop them down to the ground if that's not available. Just beginning to loosen off, bring a little smile into the corner of the mouth to allow a soft, open facial expression. Gentle, relaxed breath coming in through the nose and out through the nose. Beginning to soften through the back of the throat. Really relaxing here, allowing the tongue to drop away from the roof of the mouth. Spacious in the mouth. Little gap between the two rows of teeth, so allowing the jaws to relax, upper and lower jaw, place the tongue, front of the throat softening, and then connecting in with the breath. Just beginning to notice what the breath is doing in this moment, without any need to change, starting to bring some movement into the knees, and then settling that movement so that the femurs, the upper leg bones, just rest back into the hips. You may like to now just release the head back down under the hands from behind the head, and you might find that you reach your arms up overhead and maybe allow a little yawn to come in, releasing all the yawns that you can find around the jaw. You could even take the fingertips, this gentle, wise touch down to the ears and around the base of the jaw, gently loosening any sense of holding or tension that you might have around the jaw, around the face. Light, light touch, gentle, gentle touch. And then feeling through the sides of the skull, gently feeling the temples. You might like to take some light little circles here. Allowing the breath to come in and the breath to go out. And then gently, lightly walking the fingertips up over the brow of the forehead. Maybe taking the baby fingers and just allowing the tips of the baby fingers to draw from the centre of the eyebrows out over the eyebrows, just above the eyebrows maybe, or on the eyebrows. And repeating this movement a couple of times, so drawing from the centre of the eyebrows out to the temples. So light but positive pressure. So a nice, gentle, kind of wide touch, just soothing, almost like we're parting the space between the eyebrows, releasing any holding and gripping. Yes. A couple more times. Just allowing the face to soften, the facial expression to release. Keeping that spacious quality through the mouth and around the breath. And then just walking the fingertips now, the whole of the hand, so from the index finger to the baby fingers, walking them like a caterpillar up the brow and forehead, up to the hairline, over the hairline, almost like this centre line, over to the crown of the head, and then gently walking the fingertips, drawing the fingertips down towards the ears. And then we can do this a few times, so walking from the centre of the forehead up to the hairline, over the centre of the head, towards the crown of the head, and then allowing the fingertips just to draw, almost like they're creating more space inside the skull as you draw the fingertips up to the top of the ears. And then back one more time, centre of the forehead, up towards the hairline, nice smooth sweeping movements. A gentle light pressure, but a constant pressure, so that you can really start to feel this connection between your fingertips, this wise, loving touch, and releasing tension, releasing holding, letting go of the day, just letting the two sides of the brain inside the skull to release and let go. Good. Okay, and then let's just draw the fingertips up towards the sky. I'm rolling the fingertips, rolling the wrists, finding movements in spacious hands so the palms of the hands can start to open and release. Light fluid movements now travelling down through the wrists, feeling loosening off through the forearms, the elbows and the shoulders. Maybe dropping the fingertips a little more behind you, so maybe not right to the floor, but just somewhere between above the shoulders and right behind you. So there's a sort of way that the arms can drop back through the elbows into the shoulders, into the rib cage. So we can keep the shoulders loose, keep those nice light floaty sensations through the shoulder blades and the collarbones. And we can move on the inhale, creating that space to really create the space for that inhale to come in. And then on the exhale, allowing the shoulder blades to drop, allowing the arms to travel back through the shoulders and releasing the rib cage. And just following the breath. So the next inhalation, you can loosen and lighten the arms, freeing the shoulder blades. Freeing the rib cage to really receive that inhale, and then on the exhale, you may find that a yawn comes, and that's fine, letting all the yawns that you can find out, and then taking the awareness down to the toes, and lifting and wriggling the toes, lifting and spreading the toes. You could just take the palms of the hands together and place them now over the eyebrows and over the eye sockets. So you could rub the palms together a couple of times just to warm them up before placing them onto the eyes, one each side, and just gently covering the eye sockets. And then taking the awareness down into the toes, we lift and spread the toes, create that sense of connection through the big toe mound, the base of the big toe, feeling that corner resting down into the foot, into the floor, as the whole of the front of the foot begins to wake up, laying down the toes. So nice, broad, spacious, open front of the foot. And then feel the heels dropping into the floor like they've got hooks on them. There's almost like a scooping down. And then we feel the tailbone drawing up as the heels drop down. And there's an effortless quality. The heels are dropping down, the tailbone is lifting. And we're finding a kind of loose, soft, open rib space. Freeing the breath on the inhalation. Exhaling and letting go. Let the weight of the head release, let the collarbones soften. Broad across the front of the throat. It's really long through the back of the neck. You might want to lift the fingertips up if the hands are comfortable where they are, you can leave them where they are. Or fingertips can drift up to the space somewhere above, behind the shoulders. So that this whole shape can become this beautiful, open, spacious quality. So from the crown of the head to the tailbone, aware of the breath, aware of the exhale dropping into the areas in contact through the floor. So feeling that feeding down, down, down. On the inhalation, loosening and freeing. And on the next exhalation, lowering the pelvis back down, gently drawing one knee in and then the other knee. So taking a moment to rest here, allowing that adjustment through the lumbar, lower back region, loosening off the limbs, feeling spacious, fluid through the hip sockets, finding movements here. You might like to really switch off the legs and just find the hands taking the knees in circles. There could be big circles, super slow, gently, gentle, gentle, slowly, slowly, slowly. So just finding movements that feel interesting, giving the whole body a chance to slow down and start to respond to suggestions of movement. Really coming into the sensations, experiencing through the back of the pelvis, through the back of the rib cage, feeling the inhalation coming in and dropping on the exhale. Drop the weight of the head. Allow the head to rest. And then eventually just bringing the knees back towards the center. And just allowing the hands to drop down either side of the hips. And then we're starting to find a little rocking movement. Very little, very gentle. You could cross over the ankles, one on top of the other if that feels comfortable, or keeping the feet however you feel. All we're now going to do is just explore some little movements, rocking from side to side a little, or adjusting and taking the knees a little in one direction, and maybe the head in the opposite direction. But seeing if we could do this with the awareness through the back of the neck and the skull. Notice what's happening to the breath. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Keeping the weight of the head heavy, 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 letting that go. I think it's something like 6 kilos, weight of the head, similar to the weight of the pelvis. And of course, we have all those heavy thoughts. So I reckon with the thoughts, it's going to be at least 10 kilos. So just let the weight of the head go. Release all of that thinking into the ground. Notice if you're rushing, slowing down the movement, taking the awareness down the spine, and see if you can feel the spiral, subtle spiral traveling all the way down the spine as the knees drift over one direction and head in the other. And eventually coming back to center. Just do one last go in the opposite direction. Doing a little smile into the corner of the lips. So the mouth is soft, open. The back of the neck can release. Lengthen the crown of the head away from the tailbone. When we come back to the center, we can uncross the ankles if they've been crossed, and then just placing the feet back down. Finding your way now up, over, onto all fours for a moment. Just readjusting, taking the time to slowly, slowly come into all fours. It's very common that we rush these movements. So we can just slow it right down. Just take everything really gently, tucking the toes, taking the pelvis back to the heels, and then reaching the arms forwards. So maybe it's comfortable to take the forehead to the floor. If it's not comfortable, you can bend the elbows and place the forehead onto the palms of the hands. And just beginning to find, wherever you are, that opportunity to inhale and come away from the floor a little, loosening off the shoulders, freeing the ribcage. And then as the exhale comes, follow that exhale. Really be attentive to where the exhale can release through the floor. So the areas in contact with the floor dropping through the elbows, the forearms if they're in contact, and through the knees and through the toes. And lightening up as the inhale comes, we move a little. And on the exhale, we release the leg. So beginning to follow your breath, dropping into that spacious quality. Noticing if there's tension that's crept in around the eyes or the face. And seeing if we can release any holding with the next exhale, just dropping everything into the floor. And then on the next inhalation, you're going to come back to centre. You're going to find the hands drawing back slowly underneath the shoulders with the toes tucked, connecting with the exhale. Finding the next inhalation. And then on the next exhalation, dropping down through the hands, through the feet, lifting the knees to come up into downward dog. Very gentle. Again, just finding the way into the shape, no rush. Really easeful. You may even like to invite a yawn here. Even though this may be an evening practice, we still like to yawn. It's a great way to release tension, release any sense of holding. And it's very nice to practice in this way. The body loves it. Yoga should always feel like a holiday for the body. Obviously for the mind, it gets us a chance to really be present in this moment with our breath. And just finding the next inhale, and with the next exhale, drop through the hands, drop through the feet. Release the weight of the head. Allow the sides of the neck to lengthen. So the back of the skull really draws away from the rib cage, lengthening through the back of the neck, creating a long spine. So the tailbone draws in the opposite direction, always shifting a little, like we're a willow tree gently blowing and readjusting in the wind, that sense of being blown a little from side to side. Light and spacious through the joints, and then bringing all of that with you as we walk the feet towards the hands and come into our forward fold version. So with the forward fold, we can begin to drop the fingertips to the floor. The tendency is to collapse with the spine, but see if you can bend the knees nice and deeply. Allow the spine to be nice and light, but the head to hang. Let the head release without the torso dropping. So keeping the weight through the fingertips and through the feet to allow the spine to remain light. Light and spacious. You can lift up the heels and come onto the toes, so you're hovering the heels onto the front of the feet, and that might help you explore a loosening and a spacious quality through the ankles, one at a time, maybe through the knees. Inhaling, freeing, expanding through the back of the ribcage, that beautiful sense of lightness. And then on the exhale, we don't drop the ribcage, we just drop the hands and the feet. Drop the head. Releasing through the floor. So relaxation is not collapsing. It's not just a kind of flopping down. It's a letting go. It's a letting go into the floor, into the earth, letting go of any sense of holding and really allowing the earth to support you. So feeling that connection through the hands and the feet on the exhale. And then on the inhale, allowing the rib cage to loosen and free around the shoulders, letting the head release. And the next exhale, drop down through the feet, bend the knees to come up to standing. Let's just explore a little bit of a walking lunge, just to wake up the sense of the head coming above the heart again, feeling that connection now grounding down through both feet. So right foot forwards, left foot back, short enough lunge that the back foot doesn't have to work too hard. You can still be up on the toes of the back foot, bending into the front knee, let the arms rest down either side of the hips, loosen off and broaden across the shoulders. Maybe feel that crown of the head reaching tall, so there's space here through the back of the neck, freeing the rib cage, opening the armpits now, so you're feeling that space between the upper arm bones and the rib cage, and loosening and freeing around the upper chest. The arms can start to lift a little as the hands open, and maybe the fingertips can come towards the sky. But there's a real quality of dropping down on the exhale through the feet as the upper body becomes lighter. So we're not collapsing and sort of sitting into the hips and the pelvis. We're lifting out through the lower back, through the mid back, through the upper back, through the fingertips, through the upper body, and on the exhale we drop down through the lower half of the body. Good. And then we're just going to take the back foot can drop to the floor, so the whole of the back foot can drop to the floor, bending into the front knee. Left hand comes onto the back of the pelvis, left side of the hip, maybe the sacrum, the palm facing down, and your right hand is going to go down the inside of your right ankle, maybe connecting with the ankle, or maybe fingertips come to the floor. A little bit more tricky, you might find one side is easier than the other, but for now we're with the right leg forward. So see if you can bend into the right leg and find the weight dropping through the baby toe side of that front foot. Lifting and spreading the toes to keep the weight through the whole of the foot. The big toe mound really grounds, and maybe the gaze can just be down in between the two legs. So right in the middle of the mat, feel the rib cage loosening. See if you can free your right shoulder and allow the rib cage to drop down, following the arm. So there's a spiral through the rib cage, the spine. And pouring the weight into the front foot. Let's just come up to the chair pose, so bringing both feet to the top of the mat. Hands can be in front of the heart. So it's quite easy to get a little stuck in those kind of postures that are more challenging. So coming out of that lunge, side angle twist, and finding our way into this symmetrical kind of shape with the feet both landing underneath the pelvis. Soft bend in the knees. Notice if we can free anywhere in this shape. Keeping the elbows light, keeping the facial expression open and peaceful. Even if the internal experience is far from that, and there will be lots of things going on in your day, week, life, and that's okay, but we invite maybe that sense of openness to come through the facial expression, to bring a sense of ease to whatever is happening. A receptivity and an openness. Just allowing the exhale to drop down through the feet as the crown of the head lifts up. A couple more breaths here. If you want to go a little lower, you're welcome. But knowing that intensity is not necessarily what the body needs, maybe it's wiser to stay a little lighter, a little freer, creating a bit more space through the spinal vertebrae maybe spacious across the upper back, spacious through the shoulders. And with the next exhale, you can drop the weight into the left foot this time, stepping back through the right, allowing the arms to be down by the side. And beginning in this way to really start to find your foundation. Feel into the soles of the feet, peel the back heel up off the floor, bend into your left leg. And see if you can wake up through the thighs without gripping and holding. Seeing if you can maybe even hover the front left foot off the floor. Arms loosening and freeing from the shoulders, from the collarbones, from the back of the neck, from the occipital bone, just at the base of the skull, that little dimple at the top of the spine. And feel like a sweeping motion, almost sweeping down on either side of the shoulders, one shoulder and then the other, and then down through the arms. So freeing the arms from the top of the skull, the back of the skull, the top of the spine, and down to the fingertips, all the way across the upper shoulders, the arms, forearms, elbows, wrists and fingertips. And then feeling that lightness as the palms begin to face down, the fingertips can start to float up. Maybe the arms can drift up in front of us. And feel the exhale as the feet drop down, fingertips can lift up. Loosen across the shoulders. You don't have to creep them up towards the ears. The shoulders could be spacious. Maybe take the arms a little wider, shoulder distance apart. And feel into the whole body openness here. Feel the breath coming in, freeing on the inhale. Exhale, really receiving the whole of that exhale, letting it go, go, go. Inhale coming in, exhale going out. Soft around the face and the jaw. And land down through the right foot, this time bending and hinging at the left hip. You can take your right hand to the back of the right hip. Maybe palm facing down on the back of the sacrum, pelvis. And then left hand drifts down through to create this kind of three-legged position. Bending deeper into the left hip, keeping the gaze down, but feeling the left shoulder, following the left arm as the fingertips drop towards the floor, wrapping around the ankle. Allowing the left rib cage to really kind of soften and release, spiraling along the spine. Tendency to become quite held through that front leg. See if you can loosen and free, maybe dropping the weight into the fronts of both feet as you lift and hover the heels. And then on the exhale, feel how the body receives the exhale. And lets it go. Good. And then let's just walk the fingertips around to the right. So you're going to take both toes now, coming into wide-legged forward fold. So taking the toes pointing forwards, both feet pointing in the same direction. So landing down through the baby toe side of the feet, hinging at the hips, bending the knees deeply, finding a nice long spine. You can walk your fingertips a little further forward, soft around the face and the jaw. See if you can just let the back of the neck lengthen. Loosening this shape, finding the inhalation and the exhalation. So the body really receives that inhalation freely, openly. And then on the exhale, it can really surrender. You may notice habits of holding, creep back in, especially around the head and the neck. See if you can let that go. Bring a soft smile into the corner of the mouth and allow that to shine through to the back of the neck, the space at the base of the skull, the top of the spine. Soft, gentle, open expression on the face, shining right through to the back of the neck, open and spacious here. It's a long spine. Okay, bend the knees deeply, come back up to standing. We're going to just find our way through a couple of spinal rolls. But let's just come from Tadasana. So standing, maybe glancing down at the feet, see if you can place them with toes pointing in the same direction. And just allow the hands to rest down either side of the body. Feeling your Tadasana, mountain pose. Chin comes parallel to the earth. Crown of the head lifts tall. On the exhale, feel the heels dropping. On the inhale, a gentle little rocking forwards into the front of the feet. Soft around the face and the jaw. And then finding that quiet space between the front of the foot and the back of the foot. Softening the breath, coming in and out through the nose. The breath coming through the back of the throat, softly, softly, softly. A gentle open quality. Drawing the breath in through the back of the throat, down through the neck, into the lungs, deep into the lungs. You may even begin to notice the sound of the ocean, breath kind of emerging through dry breath. You're not having to do this. Try not to kind of cultivate the space for it to happen. Don't do the breath too much. It's a really subtle quality. It's almost just by placing the attention onto the back of the throat. Everybody wants to just gently honour that presence of the breath here. The more that we soften and release around the jaw and the face, the more effortless that breath is. Gently going to release the back of the head, dropping the chin forward. I'm going to ragdoll, so just letting the arms bring the weight of the top vertebra towards the head, travelling down with the weight of the head roaring in the neck vertebrae, the arms bringing the shoulder blades and the upper back. Just allowing soft bend in the knees, feeling the arms dangle, the head release, everything soft, slowly, slowly. Following the breath. You may like to pause the movement on the inhalation and just gently roll down, moving on the exhale. Taking your time, really slowly, slowly, slowly. There's absolutely no rush. And then when you get down to the bottom, pause for a breath or two here, letting the head release, really releasing the head. She's quite stubborn. She wants to hold on, but see if you can let go. Gentle little movements side to side, releasing all of the weight. And then when you're ready, you can softly bend the knees and begin the journey from the tailbone this time. Tailbone tucking gently, rolling through the lumbar spine, one vertebra at a time, gently, gently. And then I like to pause on the inhalation. Moving on the exhalation, slowly, smoothly, one vertebra at a And let the arms dangle. Eventually the arms will slowly come back up, mid-neck, upper back, over the head, gently placing on top of the spine as you come back to your Tadasana. Standing for a moment, feeling that sense of connection through grounded quality through both feet, feeling the earth beneath the soles of the feet, feeling that light quality through the crown of the head, to the upper back, feels spacious and open. You feel grounded through the lower half. Okay. And we're gently going to blink the eyes open if they've been closed. Slowly, slowly finding your weight dropping into your left foot. You're going to bend your right foot and right knee and take your right foot into the right hand. And if you need to, you can support yourself with a chair or the wall, maybe a finger on the wall if you need to. Just a light touch to help support you. But here, just finding the right knee dropping down. So there's a tendency to kind of hold or lift the knee, but see if you can just allow the right thigh to become very heavy. Right thigh heavy. Right arm is soft, releasing through the right shoulder. And then you could take the index finger and the tip of the left thumb to the left index finger and bring that out in front of you. Just beginning to find the balance. And watching, fixing your gaze onto the tip of the finger and feeling the breath. Soft through the back of the throat, a little gentle expression through the face. And then coming out with control, just releasing the back foot and finding your way back to Tadasana for a moment. Letting everything settle, feeling the sensations in the ankles and the feet. And then when you're ready, you can drop the weight through the right foot and gently lift the left, bending the left knee and finding the left hand on the outer foot, maybe the outer ankle. And then in your own time, finding your drishti by taking your index finger of the right hand this time to the tip of the thumb and spreading out the fingers of the right hand, so the other three fingers, middle finger, ring finger and baby finger. And then fixing the gaze onto the right thumb tip and fingertip, allowing that to support you to find your balance as the left thigh drops heavy, really releasing out of the hip and the pelvis, crown of the head lifts nice and tall. Find your breath. Okay, and releasing the foot. Let's come back to the first side. So finding your balance first, dropping down through the left foot. You may like to take your hand through your the inside of the instep. You could take your palm and turn your palm out to the side and then take the hand with the thumb pointing behind you. So you're externally rotating the upper arm bone, or whatever works. You could just let rest the hand on the outer ankle. So a couple of options. And then finding your drishti, beginning to reach forwards, following and following and following the gaze. Maybe a little flavour of a balance emerges as you keep the gaze on the hand, reaching out in front, reaching far, far away, and then coming back in and out a few times, resting in between and then playing. So we come in and out. There's no point in holding and kind of gripping and holding. That's more likely to be the ego. But just playfully exploring, using the gaze to help support you as you reach the fingertips and follow with your vision, reaching away, reaching away, reaching away, a lightness. And then when you've played a little on one side, come back to center, and in your own time, finding the opposite side to play with. So there's a a gentle approach. We, you know, kind of find that joyful quality. We don't need to make it something to be a task. And if we rush, we will probably fall out. And so just taking the time to allow the body to adjust and rebalance, reaching it out in front. And there's no merit to holding it. The holding is simply finding that sense of grasping. Much nicer to fully play. Process of coming in and out with a lightness. Smile into the corner of the mouth. And when you've played on both sides, you'll find Tadasana for a moment. Coming back to that still quality, because it's a relative stillness, it's never still. And as you start to settle the awareness down through both feet, feel the breath coming in through the tip of the nose. And then visualize it travelling down into the lungs. And then on the exhale, feel the breath coming out from the nose, tipping the nose down across the front of the shoulders and down the hands. And now inhaling and visualizing the breath coming from the fingertips, up the arms, up to the brow of the forehead, just between the eyebrows. And then back down to the fingertips again. Now through the fingertips. Inhaling from fingertips up through centre chest, through the neck, tip of the eyebrows, and then back down. Sweeping down, 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 through both arms and out through the fingertips. Releasing that, we'll come back down to the floor. So finding your way slowly down to the floor. We're going to explore a little tailor's pose. So taking the left foot out in front, the right foot is going to come underneath the left knee and flexing both feet, so pressing the heels away and bringing the big toes back towards the shins so that the ankles are really awake and active. Taking the fingertips behind us, readjusting the pelvis to explore the sit bones coming in contact with the floor. And then having the lightness through the fingertips, see if you can lift the chest. Use this to lengthen through the back of the neck, so we're not lifting the chin. So there's almost a tuck of the chin to lengthen through the back of the neck, and then freeing the shoulders, keeping the knees light as you drop through the outer edges of the feet. Feel the exhale landing through the baby toe side of the feet. And maybe you can feel a sense of drawing forwards onto the front of the sit bones through the pelvis. And we're not using the upper back to pull us. See if you can settle the weight of the head, the back of the skull travels back down through the spine and settles down into the sacrum through the sit bones. So we don't need to draw the head forwards. It's the sacrum that travels forwards and the upper back just simply follows that direction. It's really coming from the pelvis, keeping the knees light. Maybe we can hinge forwards a little more at the hips, waking up those sleepier spaces. And using the breath soft through the back of the throat. Releasing on the exhale through the feet, through the sit bone. And then when we come back to center, we're going to take the opposite foot forward. So this time the right foot is out in front and the left foot is closest to you. Walking the left foot underneath the right knee and then flexing through both feet. So nice active feet. Press the heels out away, push the heels away from you as you draw the big toes back towards the shins. Keeping the knees nice and light. So with the knees nice and light, you can walk the feet a little bit further away from one another so they're crossing. So the right foot goes out to the left and the left foot goes out to the right. And then finding the sit bones, the upper back is spacious. If we're able to kind of flop forwards, that's probably because we're not active enough through the legs. So really keeping the knees awake, like little flutters through the knees, like their two legs are like two wings of butterflies. And we find that spacious quality through the back of the neck, through the crown of the head on the inhalation, and on the exhalation dropping down into the outer edges of the feet, into the sit bone. And then we come back to center, just bring the spine back over the hips and the pelvis. Let's just find a comfortable seated position. We're going to just explore 5 or so minutes of breath work. So just finding a comfortable seat, place where the spine can really grow out of the pelvis. You could be kneeling and finding your way onto a block or a folded blanket, somewhere that feels comfortable. Okay, and we'll just take this time the thumb is going to come over the index finger and cover up the nail of the index finger on both hands, and then just release the fingertips, the other fingers out away. So we're creating not just the fingertips, index finger and thumb, but you're actually wrapping the thumb over the nail of the index finger, and then reaching the other fingers actively away, placing the palms facing up onto the knees, on the lap, resting, and then maybe just gently closing the eyes or softening the gaze, and just coming to your breath, feeling the breath as it comes in and as it goes out. We'll begin with a gentle little breath in through the nose. And then when the exhale comes, we're simply going to almost part the lips, but as if we're blowing through a little straw. And it's not like a big forceful or a big pursing of the lips. It's just a gentle, tiny, tiny gap in the middle of the mouth, as if there's a straw. And it's a gentle little exhale through softly pursed lips. And when the next inhalation comes, it comes through the nose. And the next exhalation is ready to be released. It's released through softly parted lips. So I can almost create a little straw-like movement shape through the lips, but very soft around the lips and the jaw. Just allowing the breath to release out of you with just a sense that warm air rises, so there's an effortless quality to the releasing. You find the inhalation coming in through the back of the throat, warming the air as it comes down into the lungs, and then that warm, moist air is gently going to be released out of the lungs on the exhale. And it's an effortless kind of letting go. Feeling the lower half of the body, the legs releasing, letting go. The pelvis is grounded. The upper back is free.
You may not be able in this practice to bring a smile into the corner of the mouth, but see if you can smile with the eyes instead. So even though the eyes are closed, see if you can radiate that sense of smile up to the eyes. And then we're going to just release that breath practice, allow your breath to come back to its natural rhythm. And we're going to release the mudra and take the left hand below the right. So the right palm is going to lay palm facing up in the left, and then connecting the thumb tips together. Just placing this into your lap, this mudra into your lap. And just gently closing the eyes again if you needed to open them. And we're just going to sit with the breath here. Softly on the face and the jaw. And the trick here is to really soften any sense of doing around the breath. And we will want to start to draw the breath in, or maybe push the breath out. And see if you can just let go of the need to do anything. Allow the body to do the breathing. It knows how to do it very well. Our job is to just get completely out of the way. So seeing if you can get completely out of the way for this breath and this breath. And this breath. As you begin to notice how the body needs to breathe and how the body is breathing, you may notice it's actually very subtle. As we cultivate the conditions for the breath to be as natural as it needs to be, as we release the tension and soften around the jaw, the breath begins to settle. Notice when you're drifted or the awareness has been taken away by the mind. That's fine. Bring your awareness back to the breath. See if you can gently undo the breath, letting go. Softening tension around the jaw, the throat. Releasing any sense of holding around the eyes, around the legs, letting the hands rest heavy in the lap. The shoulders are relaxed and open. And the spine feels spacious and tall. The pelvis feels grounded. And the breath is free to come and go as it wishes. So for the next So just simply sitting with the breath there. Bring the awareness back into the fingers and toes. So just find our way onto our backs into final relaxation. So just easefully, slowly finding your way out of your sitting position and coming onto your back. You may like to rest with the feet flat on the floor and knees bent for a few rounds of breath. Just as the body begins to settle and come into this sort of laying down position. And when you're ready and you feel it's time to lengthen the legs out, maybe you can just gently drop the left knee out to the side and let the pelvis roll over to the left a little, and then extend out through the left leg as the left heel draws long along the mat. And then let the right knee do the same, flop it out to the side, releasing, and then letting the heel heavy draw long along the mat. Keep the blade of palms up, maybe either side of the body, creating a little more space between the upper arm bones and the rib cage. Feeling that length through the back of the neck. Softly smile in the corner of the mouth. And the rest here. Whole body awareness now from the crown of the head down through the whole of the skeleton, mid back, lower back, pelvis, legs, tops of legs, lower legs, heels, ankles and toes. From the centre chest, out through shoulders, elbows and fingertips. And everything back to the centre. Already beginning to bring some awareness back into the fingertips, into the toes, and slowly starting to open the palms of the hands. And bring up, reach the fingertips up overhead. Reach from fingertips to toes. Deeper breath comes into the body. So wherever you are, you could just bring your hands together at the heart space maybe. And just offer a little gratitude towards your practice, creating that space for you today. Thank you for sharing